One fateful morning, the day Ogechi was supposed to leave for the city, a tragic event occurred. As Ogechi stepped into her mother's room to bid her farewell, she found her mother lying lifeless on the bed. "Mama, wake up! Mama, please don't do this to me! Mama!" Ogechi screamed in agony. Once upon a time, there lived a young lady named Ogechi. Ogechi was 35 years old, but she had no husband, no children, no money, no business, no tertiary education. Ogechi was just a girl who had no life at all. She felt she had nothing figured out about her life. She had nothing to look up to or call her own at 35 years old. She was lost in her own world. All of her childhood friends were happily married and had started families. Some of them had found success in their careers and were doing very well for themselves. Although this was never the life she wanted to live, nor was it a life she envisaged for herself. The circumstances surrounding her were beyond her control, and she wasn't able to thrive in these circumstances. Ogechi lived in a small village called Egbede with her sick-aged mother, Uchenna, and her sister named Amara, who was just 15 years old. Her father passed away when she was 10 years old, leaving her mother single-handedly to raise her. Her mother proceeded to marry another man with whom she gave birth to Amara when Ogechi was 20 years. But unfortunately, the man also died when Amara was 5 years old. Uchenna was left to take care of her two daughters. However, life took a tragic turn when Uchenna became ill and was no longer able to care for them. Uchenna had been ill for many years and was unable to work or provide for Ogechi and her sister Amara. At a tender age, Ogechi had the sole responsibility of caring for herself, her ailing mother, and her younger sibling. Her mother's illness prevented her from leaving the village to pursue opportunities in the city and further her education. She was stuck in the village where she had to do menial jobs for people to earn some money to take care of her sibling and her sick mother. Life was very hard for Ogechi because she worked day and night tirelessly to care for her sister and mother. Ogechi had too many responsibilities and they prevented her from planning her future. As a result of this, she didn't have her life figured out even at this time in her life. Each time Ogechi walked across the road, she would see her childhood friends, some of them in exotic cars with their husbands, and when she tried to greet them or call out to them, they ignored her. Most times they might give her a mean and condescending look. Ogechi was looked down upon by all her childhood friends because she was nowhere near their level of achievement. None of them wanted to talk or socialize with her. They never wanted her as a friend because they saw her as a good-for-nothing person and thought she was beneath their level. On many occasions, Ogechi had attempted to greet or hold a conversation with her childhood friends when she encountered them along the way, but they would invariably ignore her, acting as if she did not exist. This treatment always left Ogechi feeling hurt and discouraged. She became ashamed and would always hide herself whenever she spotted any of her childhood friends approaching from afar. She did not want to be seen in her present state. One day, while Ogechi was on her way to the market to buy food for dinner, she saw her childhood friend, Anna, approaching from a distance. But before she could find a place to hide, Anna had already spotted her. Anna had just come back from the city and was looking very beautiful and stylish. She said to Ogechi, "Ogechi, oh, is this you? Oh my goodness, it's been ages. Where are you going looking like this? You look so tattered and unkempt." "I know, I look messy and tattered, but that's just because I got back from work. But I am on my way to the market to buy some food. You are looking so beautiful, Anna." "Oh, thank you. What kind of job do you do now? And besides, are you married?" "No, I'm not married yet. I work at people's farm and help them clear their land. They pay me for my work. That is what I do for now." Ogechi said. Gosh, oh my goodness. How could you call that a job? That's no job, girl. You need to upgrade yourself. Stop doing such jobs. They are too nasty for you. Honestly, you need to try harder. Try harder. Well, I just want to tell you that I'm getting married next week. And that's why I came to the village to prepare for my big traditional marriage ceremony. The whole village is going to hear about it. Hey, that's so nice. Please, can I be part of your bridal train? I would love to join if you don't mind. Well, I am sorry to disappoint you, but you are too old for that. Besides, my bridal train is for big and rich girls. I'm sorry, you are not on that level. In fact, my other friends won't be happy if they see someone like you among them. Sorry, please excuse me now. Anna said and walked away. Ogechi was so surprised to hear such condensing word from Anna. She couldn't believe what she just heard. She was speechless and stood there for a few minutes, thinking about what Anna had just said to her. She burst into tears. She couldn't hold back her tears any longer. She went home that day looking so sad, broken and devastated. She sat on her bed thinking about her life. All of a sudden, a thought came to her mind. She went into the kitchen and picked up a poisonous substance from a small bowl. She went back to her room and sat on the bed. She said to herself, I am tired of being mocked. It is best I end it now. It seems there is no good that can come out of me. I'm 35 years old with no future. Nothing at all is giving me joy. Yes, I would rather die than live a wretched life like this. This will be the only way to end my pain. As she was about to drink the substance, she had her hands close to her mouth. But then another thought came to her mind. If you drink this poison and die, who will take care of your mother and sister? They would suffer more. Is it worth it? Life will just be more difficult for your sister, who is just 15 years old. As this thought ran through her mind, she wasn't able to take the poison anymore. As she sat on her bed thinking, she slept off and had a dream. In her dream, she saw herself in a beautifully decorated room filled with gold and silver and different kind of beautiful jewelry. She had many servants surrounding her, and they were serving her as she was dining and eating in a big dining room. She was living like a queen in her dream. When she woke up and realized that it was only a dream, she became sad and moody again. Her mother noticed how sad and moody Ogechi had become. She was concerned, so she called Ogechi and spoke to her about it. I know that time is not on your side. Your youth is fading, Ogechi. You are not getting any younger. I understand your worry. Now it is time you need to go and find your fulfillment and self-discovery so that you can be happy. Your sister and I will take care of ourselves. But Ogechi refused, and her mother began to persuade her. After a while, she accepted and told her mother that she would do her best to make her proud. Ogeshi's mother was happy as she was finally at ease. Ogechi began to work harder to save up money so that she could leave the village for the city. After 3 months of hard work, she was able to save up a substantial amount of money, enough to rent an apartment in the city. She was excited that finally she would be leaving the village, but she also felt sad because she didn't want to leave her mother and sister. One fateful morning, the day Ogechi was supposed to leave for the city, a tragic event occurred. As Ogechi stepped into her mother's room to bid her farewell, she saw her mother lying lifeless on the bed. She desperately tried to wake her mother, but to no avail. Mama, wake up! Mama, please don't do this to me, Mama. Ogechi screamed in agony. All her efforts proved futile. It was then that Ogechi realized that her mother had passed away. Her heart shattered as she wept uncontrollably. Her life, once filled with dreams and aspirations, was now fragmented into pieces of despair. At her mother's funeral, Ogechi could not control her emotions. She couldn't stop crying. She was now left alone with her 15-year-old sister, Amara. One morning, she began to think of the next thing to do, but she had no other option than to proceed with her travel to the city. This time around, she had to go with her sister, but after careful consideration, she thought thought it would be risky and unwise to take her sister to an unfamiliar location. So she decided to send her sister to the neighboring village to live with her aunt, who was her mother's sister. The next morning, Ogechi embarked on her journey to the city. She boarded a taxi straight to the city. As she sat at the back of the taxi, she was weeping bitterly. Her heart was heavy with grief, and the thought of her mother kept running through her mind. After hours of the journey, she finally arrived in the city. With the little money she had saved up, she rented a very small room where she could keep her belongings and lay her head. After a few days, when she had finally settled in, she started looking for a job. She went from one location to another in search of a job. She finally got a job in a restaurant as a local waitress. She began to work hard and she was able to make some money, which she sent back home for her little sister, Amara, and was able to save some for her future education. After months of working and saving enough money, she decided to enroll in an adult education program. Things were going pretty well for her until her aunt, with whom Amara was living, began to make demands for more money from Ogechi and tell Ogechi that Amara was sick just to get more money from her. Back at the village, Amara was being mistreated by her auntie and wasn't even being properly taken care of. She was mistreated so badly that she had to run away from her auntie's house and went to live with an old woman called Mama, who lived in the same village as her auntie. Although the old woman lived in a shabby looking house, she took care of Amara and Amara began to live with her. Back in the city, Ogechi had no idea what was happening. She kept sending money to her aunt, thinking that her sister was well taken care of. But little did she know that her sister was no longer with her auntie. Since Ogechi trusted her auntie, she kept on sending more and more money as her auntie continued to demand and extort more money from her. The demands got too much, and at one point, Ogechi had no money to send. She spent all her savings and was left with nothing. She became so poor that she wasn't able to continue her education or pay her house rent. Her rent was due and needed to be renewed, but she wasn't able to pay her bills any longer, so she dropped out of school. One day, as Ogechi was walking along the street, she coincidentally met her cousin, Ngozi. She was happy to meet her since she didn't know they lived in the same city. Ogechi told Ngozi that she needed help and explained to her how her rent was almost due and that she would be sent out by the landlord very soon. Ngozi felt pity for her and decided to accommodate Ogechi. Ogechi moved into Ngozi's apartment where she met Ngozi's sisters. She was warmly welcomed and began to live with them. Everything was going well for Ogechi until God decided to bless her. Many handsome and rich men began to ask for her hand in marriage. Some of these men were so wealthy that Ngozi became jealous of Ogechi, although Ogechi was not giving them a chance because she felt she was not in the same league as them. But that was not enough reason to stop Ngozi, who had grown so jealous and harbored so much hatred for Ogechi. Ngozi and her sisters sent Ogechi out of their apartment. They disappointed Ogechi and neglected her when she needed them the most. She was left with nowhere to go. She moved into an uncompleted building that she found across the street. Since the building was still under construction, Ogechi decided to stay there until she gathered enough money to rent a new apartment. A few days after she moved into the uncompleted building, she woke up one day and was about to leave the building in search of a job when she saw a woman named Madam Isi approaching her. At first, she was scared, but she summoned the courage and asked the woman, "Good morning, ma. Please, who are you? Who are you looking for? This is my building. I came here to see the work in progress so far, so I should be asking you who you are. What are you doing in my building?" Madam Isi replied, "I am so sorry, ma. I didn't mean to trespass in your building. I am just a homeless girl and have nowhere to go. My sisters threw me out of their house. I had nowhere to go, so I decided to stay here for a while until I save up some money for house rent. Please, ma, don't send me away," Ogechi pleaded. Madam Isi felt so pity for Ogechi after she heard her story. She asked Ogechi if she had a job, but Ogechi told her that she was jobless at the moment. Madam Isi offered Ogechi a job in her house as a cleaner and housekeeper and told her she would also give her accommodation where she would comfortably live. Ogechi was so excited. She accepted the offer immediately, carried her bags and followed the woman back to her house. She began working immediately as a housekeeper. She was very hardworking and so devoted to her job. She washed the clothes, cooked the food and cleaned the whole mansion. Madam Isi was so satisfied with Ogechi's work that she treated her very well. Madam Isi lived alone because all her children were grown and lived in foreign countries. She had 3 rich, handsome boys who rarely visited home. She was a very rich woman, but her children were even richer. One day, on a particular Monday morning, one of her sons, Ebuka, came home to visit his mother. Madam Isi was very excited to see her son and welcomed him warmly. The next day, Ogechi resumed work. Ebuka, Madam Isi's son, saw Ogechi and began to like her. He fell in love with Ogechi and couldn't take his eyes off her. Ogechi admired him too. It was like love at first sight. He went to ask his mother about Ogechi. His mother told him who Ogechi was and how she met her. She told her son that Ogechi was a good woman. Ebuka told his mother he wanted to marry Ogechi. His mother approved of it and gave her son a blessings. After a few weeks of getting to know each other, Ogechi and Ebuka got married. It was a great joy and celebration for the entire family. 2 months after their marriage, Ogechi decided to go back to the village to bring her little sister Amara to the city to live with her. When Ogechi got to the village, she was driven in an expensive car. All the people who thought nothing good would come out of Ogechi hid their faces in shame. The villagers were shocked and couldn't believe their eyes when they saw how much Ogechi has changed. There was a great uproar in the village as the news of Ogechi return and transformation spread quickly like wildfire. Most of her childhood friends who treated her badly and ignored her were embarrassed and lacked the courage to approach her, offer her a greeting or even congratulate her. They never saw it coming because in their hearts they thought Ogechi was going to be useless forever and nothing good could come out of her. When she got to her aunt's house, she told her aunt that she wanted to take her sister Amara with her. Her aunt lied and told her that her sister had run away a few days ago and that she didn't know her whereabouts. Ogechi was very unhappy. She was devastated because she didn't know where to find her sister. Back at the old woman's house, Amara was sent on an errand by the old woman. She had to go sell some farm produce that they had harvested from their farm because that was their means of sustenance. As she was on her way to the market, she began to hear rumors about her sister's return. She saw a woman who was discussing what she had seen and asked her some questions regarding the rumor. The woman told her that Ogechi was back and not only that she had returned looking very rich and riding in a big car. At first, Amara could not believe her ears, so she decided to find out herself. She ran to her aunt's house and there she met her sister, looking so beautiful and different from before. She was very excited and couldn't hold back her joy. Ogechi was pleased to see her sister again. Amara told her all her story and how she had been mistreated by her aunt. Ogechi was so disappointed as she listened to her sister's story. She took her sister back to the old woman's house and thanked her greatly for taking care of her sister. Ogechi then took her sister back to the city and they lived together. Ogechi went back to further her education and after years she graduated. She became the managing director of her husband's company. The girl who was once called useless was now a role model for many girls in the village. The moral lesson of this story is that you should always believe in yourself no matter the situation. Your current circumstances do not determine your final destination. Never give up hope. When there is life, there is hope. Even when it seems like everything is falling apart, because things can change at any moment. Don't let other people define you. You are who you choose to be. Remember that God has the final say in your life. Your plans may not always work out, but God has a plan for you, and it will surely work out. Do not write yourself off at all. Good things can still come out of you, no matter the circumstances you find yourself in. Remember that timing is different. Tell yourself, I can be whatever I put my heart to. The thoughts of God towards me are good and not evil. He has the final say over me. Thank you so much for watching, beautiful people. I hope you enjoyed this story and you learned something from this story. I will see you in another story. Till then, bye for now. Stay blessed and positive.